What's up, everybody? It's your favorite long overdue's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Iron Factory Hannyamaru. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you say it. I gave it a shot. What more do you want from me? What am I, a linguist? This is their take on IDW styled, inspired Cyclonus, and I think it hits a lot of the high marks. It's on course. It's on course? No, it's off course already. It's of course on loan to me from Robert D, the Legends addict himself. He sent it my way so I could take a look at it, and here I am showing it so you can take a look at it. Ironic. But it's not going to stop us from doing so, but in order to do so, we got to start with accessories. So he has an array of hands. We have 2 sword-holding hands, 2 posing hands, 2 gun-holding hands. That's in addition to the 2 fist hands that you saw in the opening footage. He also comes with an alternate head with the broken horn, but because of the way the horns, which I'll show you here shortly, that whole crest piece kind of pops out easy. I'm not sure why they just didn't do that, the swappable crest piece. But they included it, so there you have it. Of course, he comes with the sword. It's beautifully painted per usual with the gunmetal silver, the proper silver and gold. And then the little turquoise gem is painted on there as well. He'll hold it in the sword holding hand, or what I mistakenly called the gun holding hand. I thought he had a gun in there. It's not a gun. We'll get back to that in a second. But he'll hold it in either. It can also be stowed in the back of his backpack by just giving yourself a little bit of space between these, and then it'll kind of slide down and sit there. It's not the 100%. I don't know if they meant it to be intentional or not, or if it was kind of an afterthought. It kind of feels like an afterthought, but it does work. If you'd prefer not to put it there, you can use this adapter piece and just slide the sword on down. I think it goes that way. And you can store it that way with these pegs, or this peg, or this. We'll kind of show off as much as we can here. But for instance, this one will peg into his backside in robot mode, and he can sort of have it strung across his back. Now, with the sword sheathed, you can use this, man, but you don't really need it. You just need to tab this in. This 2 pegs goes into these 2 female slots on this inner thigh, but honestly, you don't need it. It's just like extra complications to make it even less enjoyable in terms of like the alt mode itself. So I wouldn't bother yourself too much with it. If you like this, chances are, I mean, you know what I mean? If you like this look to begin with, chances are you're going to be fine with any sort of add-on piece to it. And if you don't like this look, there's nothing about this add-on piece that's going to fix it. Spoilers, there's some issues with this in terms of alt mode, but we'll get there. But there you go. So this is a very teeny kind of, it's not a small figure, it's a decent sized figure, it's just that a lot of the parts are teeny, and it makes me very nervous to manipulate it. I'm sure it makes Robert a little nervous too. So for one, I want to get this head crest right out of the way. It's beautiful. However, it has a tendency to come off while manipulating it. Like the tolerance is perhaps a little, you know, I don't know, maybe perhaps it's not the best design. I'm not exactly sure what the answer is there, but I'm just pointing it out. 2 shades of silver on the face, and then the red eyes are painted. It's beautiful. The sculpt itself is pretty much spot on. The head is on a ball peg. It gets you up to there, down to there, so great range, swivel, and confused samurai look. So all of that works well. Then we have the shoulders. They're a hinge inside of the chest, and it comes out to a ball peg at the actual shoulder. There's not a lot of leeway here, unfortunately, but you can manipulate an additional hinge inside the shoulder for the arm that gets you out for close to 90 degrees. There's a bicep swivel at a cut joint, and there is a single hinged elbow that gets you slightly more than 90 degrees. There's also a wrist swivel, obviously, where the hand plugs in. And it's actually on a ball peg, so you get a little bit of in, out, and up, down. Nice silver paint there and there. Nice silver paint on the joint. It's a gunmetal. And then you have these wings that you can kind of bring out and articulate. They're kind of stuck in terms of whether they go side to side, but you do get a little leeway there. So the abdomen is on a ball peg. You get a little bit over. You get a little bit back. You get a little bit of teapot. You get the swivel. You got pink paint on the abdomen. That looks good. You got the gunmetal on the vents, and then the black paint, silver as well. All that works pretty well. You have the hip skirts. They get up and out of the way. You have the thighs underneath. Obviously, we'll back out a little bit so that you can look at these T-jointed ball joints that get you out for pretty much the full Van Damme. Actually, I think it gets it. And forward and back for the full Monty. Just be careful when manipulating these kind of skirts around. The skirts themselves have a little bit of gunmetal paint on them as well, so that's nice. You have a thigh swivel, You have a double jointed knee that gets you as far as the Sculpt will allow, which isn't the full run, but it's as far as the Sculpt will allow. And then you have the pink paint on the knees, and then the ankles, you get an ankle tilt down, an ankle tilt up, you get a rocker, and you get, I'm trying to show it, a little bit of a toe hinge, but it's mainly down, so I'm not sure of how much use it'll actually be to you. And there he is from the back. It's not like they tried, you know, and these skirts might just be a little too big. That ends up making it look a little, I guess it's still pretty clean, but it does at first glance, kind of like first impressions wise, just give you the impression like a lot of stuff is just kind of hanging off of it. But it's a pretty cool figure nonetheless. Size comparison wise, there he is with our usual suspects, the old school Iron Factory scale and the Combiner Wars Hasbro Legends figure from the Stunnicon set. And there he is with Iron Factory's Tarn. So a decent sized figure, perhaps a little bigger than I imagined, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily wrong. Let's get him transformed. So get yourself some space here and get your hip skirts out of your way the best you can. And you want to split the lower legs. After you've done so, you can kind of bring up the leg into, it's kind of like you're combining warsing it down. And also you want to get that tight as best you can, and this heel sits in that groove at the back of it. So same on this side. Pardon my progress. And there we go. The joints are a little tight, so it might give you a little bit of an issue. And then that foot down. All right, then you want to take his arms, spin them towards his body, rotate out at the additional hinge joint. It's actually a ball peg. And then rotate this down so that you're making, I don't know, a zigzag. I think the hand goes like that, but it could go like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to rotate in, we're going to pull out, so to speak, and then we're going to rotate down. And I think we have it like that. And then you can also get these wings just out of your way for the time being. We're going to bring up his backpack. And this piece right here needs to kind of flip up. I think. I can't remember. I think it just, yeah. And slide his torso down. And then take the canopy, or should I say can of peas, and open this all up. Flip this piece out. Make room for your shoulders the best you can. What am I doing here? Let's bring these shoulders down. And this piece here, these two pieces have to kind of encapsulate the head. So bring that down until it fits proper. Straighten the nose. And then I'm just going to put this to the side, dude, because it's aggravating me. And then bring this back around and cover up his face piece. All right, so then we just had to get everything tabbed in. Bring the wings up, fold them down. This tab goes into that slot. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Up and down into that slot. Let's see. The black piece here should flip back down and tab back into the butt, so to speak. And you can tab together the legs. And obviously we had to sort this out. So these tabs go into those ports on the wrists. And that's a bit of a weird tolerance there, but that's where that goes. Same on this side. That's where that goes. And then also the shoulders, and I may have screwed the pooch here, but the shoulders tab in. Oh God. I shouldn't have done this in that order. If you look at the shoulders, there's a slot on the white part that goes in. There's a tab, a purple tab. Let's undo this. We'll just take a little bit of time. And there. And there. And then we'll tab back in our hip skirts. And I mean, for better or worse, I think that's it. So, yeah. How about that? I'll clean it up the best I can. We'll take a look at it. So here's the alt mode, and man, it's just too abstract and suggestive, and it doesn't seem finished. I don't know, dude. I have a soft spot for Iron Factory because I like a lot of their products. I like a lot of their paint. They usually have finishes. This doesn't have the finishes. But some of their alt modes have been getting more and more just sort of abstract and nondescript, and this would certainly be an example of that. The nose cone part of it looks right. The wings don't look right. Like, none of it looks like, that's the only part that vaguely looks like anything. You know, the rest of it is just kind of present. You do get a little landing gear here. But the joint is so tight that it brings down the whole thing. We've talked about Iron Factory and their tolerances before. I think there's something you can do with the knees here too, but these joints are so, I can't manipulate them at all. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know if this is the one, but Tiger Tracks is definitely the one, and there he is next to him. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives, and I think the most glaring negative, the thing that screams out most, is the alt mode. It just looks unfinished, it looks nondescript, it looks abstract, and maybe that would even be okay if it wasn't such a pain to kind of get all the tabs quite right, but it is. So it's just like you go through all of this shenanigans for something that ultimately doesn't even end up looking good. On top of that, we have some tolerance issues. This has plagued Iron Factory in the past, with joints being too tight. However, a lot of the times in the past, I've given them a pass because I have chalked up a lot of their tolerance issues to paint. However, while there are great accents here, there really isn't the kind of classic Iron Factory finishes that we've sort of come to expect. So that's a bit of a bummer as well. Now, getting back to the tolerance issues, while most of the issues here revolve around it being too tight, there's also the head crest that continuously pops off from being too loose. So you have that as well. And then the last thing that I would want to mention is this: the hip skirts definitely take away from the playability, the hip skirts and the shoulders. Like, a lot of it takes away from the playability and kind of fun factor of the action figure element of it. So be advised about that as well. As you can see, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to get a cool pose, because you 100% are. Just how fun it is to get him in that pose is a different sort of question. The positives, on the other hand, kind of come down to just a few things. The materials feel good, which we've come to expect, and this one's no different. The paint accents are good, which we've also come to expect. It's just lacking the finish. The sculpt is amazing, which we absolutely expect from this company, and it holds true and consistent. And the articulation is built in there, which can be hit or miss on Iron Factory, but this one kind of nails that. So here's the thing about recommending this. If this were almost any other character, I wouldn't recommend it. But the sad thing is with all of the issues that I think this thing has, and it has a lot of issues, it's simultaneously the best IDW Cyclonus representation that we've ever gotten in terms of accuracy, sculpt, and presence. So if you need a Cyclonus for that purpose, I wouldn't be mad at you for filling it with this figure. I think you're going to be 100% satisfied. However, if you don't really have an attachment to IDW and you're just sort of having fun with Legends, you can probably skip this one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.